It's a very happy moment for me today as Ashish Kumar, I would say Ashish, I used to call him Ashish only, he is with us today. And I wholeheartedly welcome him on behalf of the department, of the students of all three programs are sitting here, MBA program, MBA IRP program and BBA program for semester students, and my own behalf. As Amit sir has just told you that he did MBA from this institute only from 1991 to 1993, and that was my batch. So just like you must be having your lovely memories which are coming up now, moving around the city in bike and doing different kind of things. So the moment I met him, I became nostalgic about all those moments. I think he also must be feeling similar. Though when we used to study, we were not in this campus, we were inside the campus where we have this knowledge department. And as Amit has told you about him, that he is Chief Executive Officer and President of Arvind. And Arvind is a Indian multinational which has global presence, which is operating in more than 60 countries now. And we are blessed that Ashish is here today because maybe 10 to 12 days in a month he is out of India. And remaining 18-20 days either he is in Ahmedabad or he is in Bengaluru. And he has agreed to have interaction with you, have some discussion with you, and give you some guidance. I welcome him, and I request all the students to be interactive in the session, because when we are sitting in my room, he said I would like to make it as interactive as possible. So he is a perfect role model to you. I can say one of the best placements of this department that we have, these 7 schools. So, and the journey was very small. The beginning was very small, not journey. The beginning of the journey was very small. Just like any student has. He started with DCM and then he went on to establish his own enterprise, become entrepreneur for some time. Then he joined Arvind Mills and now he is on the apex of the organization. So I won't take much time, and I request Ashish Kumar to please interact with you all, and I would request all the students, whatever questions you have in your mind, please speak out. गलत भी होगा तो कोई बात नहीं, it is your family. And one very important point which I would like to point out today, that in these 30 years, especially after 2004 when we shifted to this campus, we have been organizing lectures of our alumni. Teachers sitting here, they know that people from across the country and even from outside the country, when they visit Rewa, I request them to interact face to face. But from today, we are going to give it a formal name, as Amit sir has already announced. We are going to have its name as Rewa Lecture Series. That is the Alumni Talk. So, alumni who are placed in very good positions and who have some good experience to share, to guide you, we will be inviting them physically also, and if not possible physically, then we will be having online session. As you must be aware that today we are going to have another session at 11 a.m., 11 to 12:30, that will be online. And Mr. Sandeep Singh, who is arbitrator in Palm Oil Association, Malaysia. He is in Malaysia, I think, for more than 15-20 years now. He is in good touch with me. And students must be knowing about BCG, Boston Consulting Group, and we can see they are the leading organizations in the world. And he is a consultant to both these organizations. So he is also in a very senior position and very good profile. But he has also promised me that he belongs to basically Prayagraj. He said, well, next time I will plan my trip to Prayagraj, I will come to the institute physically also in fact. So this is the first session, first formal session of Rewa lecture series. So I would like to all of you to clap for that. Yes. definitely you are also going to be a member of Alumni if you have studied from this institution. And something similar we can have in MBA program also. I have requested Dr. S.P. Singh that we should form an alumni association and involve students there also. So with these words, I close and I won't take much time. And I request Ashish to please come over. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. That's like, हमारा 30 का बैच था. We were 30, I think 30 years back. But I can challenge you that, we used to say good morning much more louder and with much more spirit than what you guys are doing right now. So, can we hear it once more time?
Good morning.
Okay, so first of all, it's my proud privilege to be here. मतलब ये वाकई मेरे लिए बहुत ही सम्मान की बात है. 30 साल पहले हम आपकी तरह बैठे थे. And first I would like to start with congratulating. Right now I will tell him Professor Arvind because for doing a very commendable job. So let's. It is very easy. When we all were there, we were good friends. And when we started, it was very easy to kind of move out and build your own career, but it's very difficult to kind of shape careers. And I think credit goes to Atul again for shaping careers for so long. So thank you very much, Atul. We really make us proud. So I think अभी जब अतुल ने he requested and I said okay, let's interact with this student. So I thought, what is that you are expecting out of this, or what is that I would have expected when I was sitting 30 years back and sitting there and somebody sitting on this side. उस समय भी हमारे guest lectures होते थे. Our beloved Professor Sinha used to organize a lot of lectures, and there used to be a lot of faculties who used to come, and they used to generally talk about अगर operations के में तो operations management, marketing management, बहुत कुछ सीखा हमने और बहुत कुछ आगे किया. तो I think what I would like to spend the next whatever 45 minutes, 1 hour we have is just taking you through my journey and possibly telling you what I call as the ABCDEF of the corporate world as to what is required based on the experience which I have had in the last 25-30 years, practical experience. Of what is required to be kind of work around that. So, is that okay with you guys? You want it to be doing it a different way? So, yes, no, maybe?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So, I think 1993, like everybody, when we passed out, the opportunities were very less, let's say that, to just, हमारा second batch था, third batch था, हमारा third batch था, and either there was IM or there was nobody, so to say, on the MBA side. But these का batch था, हम लोग निकले, and we started working around, and I belong to a place called Allahabad, which is now known as Prayagraj. I went to Delhi and I started looking for what can be done. And I think by October I landed myself into one of the companies, which I changed in about 1 month and moved to the other company. And then I stayed there for almost about 3 weeks. But that's where I learned, or let's say what I unlearned. हमने वो जो सीखा था 2 साल में, वो थोड़ा बहुत unlearn किया और नई चीजें learn करी. मतलब what's the corporate world all about, how we kind of work there. And I think the first thing which I call as the A of the corporate world, which I think all of us at some point of time, in some form or the other, will need to imbibe within our DNA is adaptability. And adaptability is one such quality which, in any case, as a human being we have. अगर आप हमारी हिस्ट्री देखेंगे तो so adaptability is something which I think is innate to our nature. We adapt ourselves. Very recently, there is a whole history of the prehistoric man, how they adapted, and today how we are right now in whatever physical form we are. But I think a recent piece on adaptability was when COVID hit us, right? जब COVID hit किया तो किसी को पता नहीं था कि हमें करना क्या in the corporate world, right? I mean, in the education world for sure, in the corporate world, because especially in manufacturing, right? I mean, everything was put to shut. And when everything is put to shut, how do you work? But then also, I think what we as organizations, I mean, both as Indian organizations and what we learned from outside, that there was a lot which we could do, you know, by just being online. And we delivered. So I think adaptability is one virtue which we all, in some way or form, need to adapt, or some way we need to imbibe. And there are enough successful examples. I mean, you know, जो भी बोलेंगे उसमें कुछ examples जरूर देंगे जिसमें आप relate कर सकें कि क्या हुआ. दो companies का हम adaptability का example देते हैं जो became very successful, and two companies which actually perished because they did not adapt. One company which comes into my mind is आज आपने सबने आज सबके मोबाइल पे या उस पे एक ऐप जरूर होता है Netflix का, right? So Netflix, how many of you know that Netflix started as a DVD rental company? वो सिर्फ DVDs उस जमाने में rental पे देते थे. They had no other business except that, and they were very successful. But then they realized that, you know, there is a change in consumer consumption. What they did is that they converted themselves into a Netflix streaming platform, and today, you know, Netflix is almost there on almost all the phones. You know, I mean, we are enjoying the streaming. So they adapted, and because they adapted, they became successful. Had they not adapted, I don't know where they would have. The second example of the company which kind of adapted really very well was Amazon. Now, Amazon also did not start as a marketplace. Again, it's an app which is there on. आज हम Amazon बोलते हैं, उसको अम्माजान बोलते हैं, जो भी बोलते हैं, मतलब, you know, anything is available on Amazon. But Amazon started as a pure library company. I mean, they were only into book rentals. They used to just lend books. So how they moved the model, how they adapted themselves to the consumer shifts, to the consumer preferences, and that made them successful in whatever they are today. Two examples of companies which did not adapt and as a result perished. Again, global companies. आप लोगों में से कितने लोगों ने सुना है कोडैक का नाम? पहले कैमरे, they were market leaders. A Japanese company being a market leader, they said कि सारी दुनिया हमारी रील में. They did not embrace the digital revolution, and as a result, they came into the digital piece, but very late. And by that time, that space was already taken over by a lot of other successful companies. So, as a result, they lost the market share, and today they are no longer there. एक और कंपनी जो मतलब हमेशा सामने आती है, and a very recent company. In our time, the first phones which came, which had email, there was a company called BlackBerry.
Yes.
Right? आप लोग ने शायद नहीं देखा होगा, क्योंकि बट हम लोग के पास वो BlackBerry था और उसमें he felt very empowered because उसमें email आप कर सकते हैं. But then they remained where they were. Today, BlackBerry, I don't think anybody in this room will have a BlackBerry in their hand, because the whole industry of the phone industry kind of transformed. And as a result, what you see is that today BlackBerry is not to be seen anymore. So my request, and I mean I'm telling it from my experience, is that adaptability as an organization, adaptability as an individual is a virtue which you need to have. Be adapted. I mean, I adapted, I started, even in your career, you start in your respective stream, right? I mean, you will either be a HR professional or a marketing professional or an operations professional. I started as a marketing guy. But somewhere or the other, we all, as we grow in our career, we need to move roles. And that's also linked to the adaptability of how we can kind of adapt. So, one thing consciously let us focus on how do we increase our adaptability. So that's what I call as the B. That's what I call as the A. The B, which I would say is that, believe in yourself. I think that's the most important thing. आपको अपने आप पर विश्वास रखना बहुत ही जरूरी है अगर आपको आगे बढ़ना. Because life is not going to be always a upside curve. You will need to build in resilience. You will need to, kind of be prepared of the ups and downs in life. वो कहते हैं hard line भी जो है ना ऊपर नीचे ही चलती है, वो कभी ऊपर नहीं जाती. It doesn't travel in a straight line. So what I'm saying is that we need to be prepared to accept the wins and also embrace the not so wins in life. And then learn from them and see how we can not commit the same mistake again. So that's the limited point which I'm trying to make. Make sense? देखिए अभी 10 मिनट बोलेंगे उसके बाद हम आपके पास ही आएंगे. I will only have an interactive session. I don't want to have a one-to-many because that does not work. It did not work 30 years back. I don't think it works now. So because you guys consume knowledge like nobody else, right? And you have more sources of information. You have more resources at hand than what we had, and I think you are much more informed. So it should not be a one-to-many interaction. Is what I believe. So I'll just take 10 more minutes before I end my ABCD, and then we can kind of move around on that. The C, which I call is, we always need to have the courage to change, or which means that we have to be on a continuous learning path. Learning doesn't stop. Learning for me has not stopped even now. Whatever I have, I hope I will learn something out of you guys today when I am sitting in front of you or when I am standing in front of you. So continuous learning is a journey. It's a loop which you should never go out. आपका एजुकेशन खत्म हो जाएगा, आप कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड में आओगे, आपको अनलर्न करना पड़ेगा, आपको फिर से लर्न करना पड़ेगा. So you will need to be in a constant learning loop. And as you learn, they always say that as you discover previous unknowns, you will obviously get to know a lot more. They say the circle of ignorance is always bigger than the circle of knowledge. So जितना आप अपने knowledge का circle पढ़ाएंगे, उतने ignorance का circle भी बढ़ेगा. So there is always something or the other to learn. The fourth element, let's say in the alphabet, is the D, which I call as data-driven insights. Data, not only how do we use data to kind of process information. It's not about only the consumption of data, it is also about the production of data. सबके हाथ में आज everybody has an online presence. So what is your online reputation? How do you build it over a period of time? How consciously you go towards that piece is going to be equally important. Besides taking decisions based on hard facts, how do you process data? How do you consume data? How do you produce data? Is one single point which will differentiate and which will make you win the war of future, whatever it is in the corporate world. The E and F, and then I'll stop, and then I will kind of move around on the other side. The E piece is the empathy. The empathy and how do you embrace diversity and inclusion. I know these are, a little bit of a confusing words, but I think tomorrow's corporate world is where you will necessarily need to embrace diversity and inclusion. You will also need to have empathy, which means you need to learn working in teams. You cannot, as an individual contributor, there is only one role which you can kind of achieve to, but you need to be a people's manager. And for people's manager, the biggest quality which one needs to inculcate is empathy. So, आपका दूसरे के प्रति जागरूक होना will become very, very important. Pardon my Hindi, I am not, so if I am swaying a little bit, but I am just trying my best to balance the two. So ये बहुत ही important fact है, मतलब कि आप कैसे दूसरा आपके साथ कैसे relate करता है. it's going to be important as you kind of move forward, especially in this nuclear world where we are all fighting our own battles. It's very important that as a team leader, as an individual contributor, or even as a boss, as a subordinate, we at least try to understand the situation of what the other person is. And if we are able to understand, we'll be able to resolve it as well. The F, and I will repeat the A, B, C, D, E, F once again for you. F, I believe that financial literacy, numbers पे पकड़ होना बहुत जरूरी है, irrespective of the stream you are in, whatever you decide, whether it is operations, whether it is systems, whether it is HR, and I mean, if you ask me questions, I'll give you examples that how in our organization we put focus on numbers, because numbers is everything. Financial, उसका impact आपकी top line पे क्या है, उसका impact आपकी bottom line पे क्या है. So much as we want to understand the financial statement, I think to some extent the basic knowledge on the financial statements, or what I call as financial literacy, needs to happen, and one needs to make a very kind of individual effort to kind of go into that. Don't restrict yourself to the financial management which is taught in your classroom. Go beyond, understand how it impacts, and once you do that, I mean that is only going to help you in whichever stream you are. Not only that, if you are in a finance stream, or if you are in the HR stream, or if you are in ultimately, I think everybody sitting here, I see a potential CEO. And finally, if you have to reach to anywhere close to the top, you will need to understand the metrics, the financial piece in a little more elaborate. Does it make sense? So, I will just summarize everything. I said that it's the A, B, C, D, E, F, and I have already spoken about A, B, C, D, E, F. A, how do we adapt? How do we remain adaptive, or the adaptability of an individual, of an organization? B was believe in yourself. So that's the most important piece, because that's what projects you in a very different way. C is that you need to be in a constant learning mode, right? I mean, you can never have enough of learning in life, and it is not only textbook, it is also about the life skills as you kind of move on, so to say. D was data driven, both being the producer, because there is a lot of data which you produce, which is basically your online presence, your LinkedIn profile, your Instagram, or आजकल पता नहीं कितने सारे apps हैं जिन्हें आप लोग use करते हैं. And also, how do you consume data? How do you look data in a very different way, so that you process data into information, and how do you kind of build on that information to kind of deliver results, right? E was empathy, right? And how do you embrace diversity and inclusion? And F is financial. So that was my A, B, C, D, E, F. I hope it was not boring enough. And then, if you have all these A, B, C, D, E, F, then I think the only G is go for it. So let's all go for it. I will pause. I will want more interactive questions from here on. So please shoot. Anything you want to add, or पूछिए भाई, questions पूछिए, कुछ तो पूछिए, please.
So my question is that, being a business student, what should be our perception towards the corporate world?
So currently, what is your perception? Let me ask.
Sir, currently my perception is that I'm pursuing MBA, and after that I will do my best in the corporate sector.
Which stream are you focusing on?
Sir, I'm focusing currently on the finance stream.
On the finance stream.
Yes, sir.
So you want to add any other qualifications after MBA, or are you so you want to do it? So, okay, coming specific. See, financial management will mean that what you are taught here is the general financial management. Now, there are two parts of finance. Right? One is the MIS, which is Management Information System, basis which we take decisions, and the other is the financial accounting piece, which is maintenance of books, right? Both are important. One will lead you into a job into Big Five or these consulting companies which you audit, and the other will give you a space in, let's say, the president's office or the CEO's office, or basically collecting data and informing that what decisions have to be taken. So your question was, what do I expect out of the project? So definitely don't expect what we're expecting right now. So it is going to be a new experience. But I think what will happen is that and it is true for any discipline. See, we all, and this I'm talking from my perspective, pardon my. So when we did our MBA, we said कि अब तो MBA हो गया, हमें काफी कुछ पता है. हम जाएंगे, हमें जाके हम वहाँ बैठेंगे, and trust me, for the first 15 days, I was just going to office, coming back to office, not knowing why they are paying me, because कोई काम नहीं. No, because then I realized that काम आपको ढूंढना पड़ेगा, because everybody there already has a work. Don't expect that they will hold your hand there and walk you through everything. These friendships ends here. Working relationships start the moment you enter into the corporate world. So try to accept that fact that it is going to be a working relationship. Don't get disheartened by if the day is going bad or if your boss has not even seen you for the entire day, because बच्चों को आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा ये रहता है कि भाई आज देखेंगे इस वजह शाम को हमको. I don't know whether I exist or don't exist. Don't take it in your stride. As I said, believe in yourself and try to find out how can you help. If you do that, automatically you will get noticed and you will not realize from being sitting on the desk and being in a conference room for all important meetings, how life is. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody seems to be knowing everything, which is a very good thing. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Sir, I need to know what do our superiors expect in the corporate world? Because it's the fact that we can't be like we can go and just rule the corporate world. We need to be under someone. So what do they expect from us? What do they want? What do they think of the? Either they want us to be a perfect one, either they want us to learn flow or something like. What do they actually expect?
So you want a real answer or you want a textbook answer?
I want a real answer.
Okay. The real answer is this: that what you said, what do the alumni for everybody's benefit? I don't know whether you can or not. That what do the superiors expect from, let's say, the new entrant into the organization? So, I'm talking from experience and I think it can change, but more or less it is similar. See, every organization has a mandate to grow people from, let's say, from the beginning. So we have this saying that grow your own timber, which means you groom the people as they get groomed, you put them into a funnel and then see how they can take larger positions, because that's the change which is inevitable. Today, your boss who is there, you will be the boss of someone else. So what is expected simply is that how can you help lower the burden, whatever that burden is. It's not about just so suppose there is tons of data which is available and which has to be done. Suppose it's a new market which one needs to research. So how do you do that research? Suppose it's a MIS report which somebody is wanting to work or somebody is wanting to change. How can you volunteer? What are the 2-3 things which people look at? What is your approach and attitude towards everything the moment something is given? Because not everything which is given to you will be known to you. You will have to again learn, as I said. Learn and deliver. So what's your approach and attitude? That matters a lot. How it is not about, they don't expect that you will come back with 100% delivery. But at least you attempt it in the right earnest, that will make the difference. in the starting, when you are starting. When you become 2 to 3 years, obviously you are expected to have some kind of a domain knowledge, in whichever domain you are operating. So if you are given a work, then delivery becomes important. The first year you are under a watch in terms of how you are being a part of the team, how you are shaping up, how you are taking initiatives, or how you are helping or assisting. So, point is this: there is no real answer to it. You will have to experience it based on the organization. Each organization has its own culture and own value. PNG will have a different culture.